Hi everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Facebook Live. Hi Winson. Hi Chun Hao. How are you guys doing?
Hi, we are doing
Hi,
well.
Doing
hi
good.
Isabel. Hi Junhao. Nice to having me here. Thank you for invitation.
You guys looking so smart. Working from home. I know you have a lot of Zoom call you need to attend, and sometimes you just put on a coat and then you just everything looks different, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. Just like I don't have to drive my car around. I can have my meeting and webinar. Like I just did one webinar yesterday for Philippine Institute of Accountant. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm already in Philippines without traveling to the country itself.
Yeah, this is the beauty of online, right? Everything you cut down your traveling time, you cut down you save time actually, and then it's more convenient.
Yep, it is.
Yeah. So today we are going to talk about how to set up a company for success, especially during this crucial time. So before we jump into that, I just want to let the audience know. Please feel free to share this video on your personal Facebook account or page or to group, and maybe if you think that this Facebook Live might be useful for your friends or family, please feel free to share, and of course give us likes, a lot of likes. And my name is Isabel. I will be hosting this Facebook Live. Okay, so oh yeah, before we start, I just want to have a quick mention to the audience, for those of you that's watching this Facebook Live, and please stay until the end of this Facebook Live because we have some offer coming up. Okay. Okay, so I would like to introduce the two speakers we have today, Chun Hao and Winson, in our second Fireside Chat. So, can you please tell us your profession, Winson?
Oh, thank you, Isabel. Yes, good afternoon, all. I think this is my second time doing Facebook Live. And thank you very much for Junhao to invite me to become one of the speaker for his section. And yes, my name is Winson. I'm running a business called KaiZhiZi Sendang Berhad. So our core business is a company. We provide company secretarial services, and we also providing other services like bookkeeping, taxation, and payroll. So yeah, this is all about my business. And back to you, Isabel.
Okay, Chun Hao?
Yep. As for me, I'm a chartered accountant by profession. So after working for 10 over years in the commercial and audit line, I got very tired and I just want to focus on system. So what we do in our current company is we help companies to digitalize their back office operations to turn them from manual to automation and offline to online so that they can achieve efficiency. And most important of all, they are still able to operate during this lockdown period in Malaysia.
How cool that is. Okay, so the topic for today is how to set up a company for success during this pandemic. It is Winston's area of expertise. For people who are not familiar, can you share what is the role of a company secretary in Malaysia? Winston.
Okay, thank you, Isabel, for your question. Okay, for this role of company secretary in Malaysia, I will make it to five parts. The first part is we consult our client when they want to incorporate a Sendang Berhad or LLP. So for your information, for those who don't know what is LLP, LLP is stand for Limited Liability Partnership. So I will not explain much on this because this is a very quite a new product in Malaysia, even though it's few years back. Okay, and then the second part as company secretarial is to we must make sure our client comply to the law and regulation, like the Company Act, like the LLP Act, especially these two acts. And then the third part of the role is to make sure all the members in that organization are genuine. What I mean is like those shareholders, directors, or if they have any proxy or representative in their organization. So number four is documentation part. So what is documentation means? We need to help our clients on the board meeting minutes, and we need to help our clients on the board resolution. If they have any decision making. Like they want to have a bank facilities, they need a bank resolution. They want to transfer their share, they also need a resolution. Whatever decision make for that organization, they need to come out for the resolution. And then also we need to make sure that all the information of this organization is up to date in the authority system, which means is the SSM. And we will keep and file all the above documentation for
Mm,
future use, especially if there is happen any dispute, and this will become an evidence, okay, or even sometimes for the audit purposes. So this is the number four. And the number five is the submission of annual reporting. So every year we need to make sure that our clients need to submit their audit report as well as their annual return. So for us, we will keep reminding our client, hey, Junhao, you need to submit your audit report, yeah? This is your due date, yeah? And then your annual return. So what is the consequences if they didn't submit? So of course lah, they will get penalty on that. So this is the five major role as the company secretary in Malaysia. Back to you, Isabel.
okay, thank you. So Winson, just a short question. So is it all companies, Sendirian Berhad Enterprise, they have to have secretary?
Not really. Only Sendram Berhad and this Berhad company, they need to appoint a company secretary. They can be more than one company secretary. They can have two, three.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So normally for those listed company, right, they will have more than one.
Ah, okay. So it's a
Okay.
common.
Yes,
Mm,
but for LLP, they do not need a company secretary, but they do need a compliance officer.
mm.
Okay, this compliance officer will be representing auditor, accountant, company set, everything, almost everything. So they have a big liability, or we call it, responsibility, okay, on that organization. But for enterprise business like SOPOP and partnership, right, they not really need us. But one thing, don't forget, they still need to pay the tax.
Mm, okay. So audiences, until now, if you have any question, please feel free to just drop in the comment section. I saw Stephen Wong commented, great job, Chun Hao and Vincent.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Steven.
you.
Okay, please feel free to like and share. Okay. So on one of the most important aspects of starting a company is having the right financial plan and budgeting in place. Chun Hao, what are some of the ways we can save on expenses to stay lean?
Well, as a chartered accountant myself, I do emphasize on having a financial plan and budget before you start a business, or even you're halfway running a business. Why it is important? Because you want to know whether your sales is enough to cover your overhead expenses, such as the rental, the payroll, the maintenance of the office, so on and so forth. So there are a few ways that you can adopt in order to save on expenses and stay lean and still able to operate efficiently. So one example is instead of renting an office space to run your business, you can always engage a co-working space. So co-working space comes with all the fixed asset, the furnitures available, the air cons and everything. Only thing they don't have is probably the computer, which you need it. So all you need is bring a computer to a co-working space and you start working. Then you save on spending money on renovation and having more furnitures and assets, and you can make use of all the facilities available. Other than that, once you are in a co-working space, of course, you can't buy too many assets because your space is limited, but you can make use of the facility. One way is to digitalize your back office operations or even the front office operation. So, for example, it could be the accounting or even management of inventory or even your HR. You can make use of all these cloud software in order to track and monitor, as well as submit all your compliance documents necessary to the authorities such as LHDN, the Inland Revenue Board, the customs, or even EPF, SOXO as well. So all of these can be automated as well using a cloud solution. Then you don't have to spend time engaging someone physically to do it. The software can do most of the job. What you need is to submit the document once everything is calculated for your business. So that's one way in order to save on expenses and yet still able to operate efficiently. Give an example, my company right now, as you can see my background, I'm at home right now in my bedroom. I'm doing this webinar, and all my team members are currently at home as well, and yet we are still able to operate efficiently. Why? Because we are all online, we are all using a cloud software, and we can provide our service online. So that's the beauty of having to stay lean. We don't have to engage an office, although our office is still there and it's closed for 3 months now. We don't need to pay for office maintenance. We don't have to do much thing. So our overhead cost has been lowered, and yet we are still able to operate and provide our service to our client and increase our sales as well. So that's the beauty of staying lean.
Thank you, Chun Hao. Yeah, I like the idea of like co-working space, and also just now what you mentioned, automate everything, the back office operation, just make it like just one call away, like just using a phone, one app away,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Okay, so we know that working with close friends and family is very challenging. Winston and Chun Hao, do you have any stories that you can share to offer some advice to members considering to set up a business among close friends and family?
Junhao, you would like to say anything on this part?
Yeah, maybe I share a little bit. Then, Vincent, you can share your insights onto this since you're the co-sec, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I would say best not to work closely with a friend or family. Reason being is once you get, because you're in a friendship zone or family zone, a lot of emotions will be in place. Once you start that and you want to run a business, a lot of things need to be very objective, and sometimes you can't be objective because you're putting emotions inside. So my advice always, try not to work closely with a friend or family. You want to separate. But if you really need to go into it, then I think best is to have an agreement. Now, verbal agreement, sometimes you tend to forget. Best is to have some kind of legal agreement drawn by a lawyer, a corporate lawyer, that can help you to make things clear so that you can avoid any conflict or arguments. Personally, to be frank, I would prefer to set up a Sendirian Berhad if you have a friend or family to run a business, because a Sendirian Berhad allows you to buy shares of the company, and let's say one day you don't want to be part of it, then you can leave the company by selling the shares away. So make it clear cut, and at the same time, hopefully you can still maintain the relationship with your close friends or family. So over to you for a deeper insight, Vincent.
Okay, thank you, Junhao. I totally agree with you. Okay, so it's not a good idea to have a business with our close relative or even best friend. But if we really need to do so, I think Junhao have mentioned it, a proper agreement is needed. Okay, I would like to share a story. Now, this is a true story. 2 years ago, I have a client. They want to form up a business, okay, and they are a group of four best friends, four of them, and the best part is they have a different they have a different percentage of share. Okay, four of them, maybe if average will be 25%, right? But they are not going to that part. They go, maybe one person is 10%, another one is 5%, then another one maybe 50%, so and so. And they have a brilliant idea to come up with this business. You know, for when we go to a normal cafe, right? I think most of the cafe is not allow us to bring our pets, especially those pets lover. You know this. We're not allowed to bring our pets. We cannot bring our pets to the Starbucks. Maybe I don't know. Okay, I've been more than a year didn't go to dine in Starbucks. So they are not allowed us to bring in pets. So what happened? They come up with this idea. They want to open a cafe whereby, okay, whereby they have what they call that playground for the pets, for their client, for their customers. Okay, then they have a very did their business planning on, okay, first they do the budgeting on how much they're going to rent a shop, and then they do so-called like planning, okay, how they're going to advertise, okay, where is the location, very good. And then after I listen to their planning, right, I give them this advice. I say, hey, I think you guys have a brilliant idea on running this business. I think you guys have a brilliant idea on doing the business planning. But why not put it into a words? That's mean you go to do what you call that shareholder agreement. So they refuse. Okay, they refuse. They told me these two reasons, two reasons. First reason they say, hey Vincent, we are best friend. Okay, we know each other for many years. We know each other. Okay, they use this word, we know each other. And then second thing, since we know each other very well, why should we spend more money to draft the agreement? Okay, so what happened next? They start to go to find a shop, and then they start facing some challenges because they already in on fire. You see, they want to start their business, kickstart their business, so they go to rent a shop. Now the problem come in, the challenges come in. First is the shop owner being treated them. What does this mean? Okay, Be- because they didn't hire any lawyer at that moment, right? So they simply signed the tenancy agreement, and they didn't realize that there is an unfair clause in the tenancy agreement. My goodness. Okay, they didn't also show to me on the tenancy agreement. They thought everything is okay. You see, when I know this, right, I see the clause, I say, wow, you guys can sign this agreement with this clause. Okay. So after that, never mind, they still ongoing. And then they, amongst the member, they start disputing what happened. Because, sometimes we do our budgeting. Like we renovate our house, right? We budget 100,000. But at the end, how much we spend? Maybe 150,000. This is normal to everyone, right? So same thing happened to them. They already do the budgeting, but end up they have insufficient fund. So what they do, they were four of them, they discuss, okay, who should pay more, who should pay less, because by the share structure is different. So they start arguing. You see, they start arguing, and they didn't solve the issue. They didn't solve the challenges that they face. Like the snowball effect. Okay, they keep rolling the challenges, keep rolling and rolling, and end up they decide to strike off the company before the business start. Very sad.
Mm.
And the best part is they even lost their friendship because they have a lot of argument. At the end, only one of the member bear all the fees to strike off the company. All necessary fees. He told me this. He's the one who deal with me. Okay, keep in touch with me. He told me this, Vincent, no choice. I want to keep my name clean in any legal entity. Okay, so I no choice. I need to pay all these fees. I'm quite pity him. So what is the moral of this story? Okay, I always advise my clients who have partner in their organization, do a prenup. So maybe some of you know that prenup is is a trend in Western country when a couple they going to marry, right? But why I say prenup? It's same thing. If we want to partner with someone to run a business, it's something similar to a marriage. So what should we mention? What should we consider in the prenup? Five things. Remember this, five things. First, responsibility. Every each of us, every each member, what is our responsibility in our role? Okay, who do what? The second thing, restriction. What can do, what cannot do. Okay, Junhao and Isabel, I would like to throw this question to you. If three of us, okay, we form up a new company, okay, then I tell you, hey, can I have my spouse or my sibling to become the vendor of our company? Think about that. Okay, this is conflict of interest. Think about that. Okay, I let you answer yourself. Okay, maybe you have different answer, I don't know. To me, I would say no. Okay, and then the third thing, profit sharing. Now let's say three of us, I give this example again, three of us in the same company. Maybe me and Junhao hold the 35% share, and Isabel hold 25%. Okay, so it's total up 100%. But come to profit, is it necessary that we need the profit need to go according to the percentage of share, we hope. Not necessary. Yeah. Maybe, Isabel, you are doing much more in this company. Okay? Because maybe you are doing the marketing, you are doing the management, you are doing sales. Okay. And me and Junhao agree that, okay, Isabel, come to the profit, you will get 50% of it. Me and Junhao will get only 25%. It can be happen if we make it in the agreement. Okay? Number four, transparency. Now, if let's say I tell you same thing, three of us in the same organization, then I will tell both of you, hey, do some magic in the accounting lah, or magic on the figure. You see, so we pay less tax. So what does this mean? This mean is tax evasion. So if a member of us can tell us this kind of tax evasion, right? They are cheating to the authority or the government, right? Do you think that this person can cheat us too? Make a point here. Okay, number five, exit plan. What if a member wants to quit? What if three of us, me, Winson, want to quit from this organization? What is our plan? How to buy off my share, right? And now we know that COVID currently is the COVID pandemic. And then I believe many of us, we know someone we know surrounding us suddenly passed away due to COVID. Agree or not? Like recently, last week, I have my schoolmates. Suddenly, we get the bad news that he passed away due to COVID. So it maybe happen to our organization if we have a partners. So what happened if one of the partner forget to wake up on the next day? Are we allowed their sibling or their what they call that beneficiary to take over their share or their role? Are we allowed to do that? So all these 5 points, we must put 5 things must consider to put into our shareholder agreement. Okay, then of course I will always refer all my client when they want to do shareholder agreement to a corporate lawyer. Okay, and some of my client they will tell me, hey Vincent, just shareholder agreement, right? You have the template, right? You just help us to do it. Yeah, my answer is I say very simple. Like the story that I mentioned just now, the four of them, they have different share structure. Okay, so they should go into the detail, okay, on the 5 points that I mentioned just now. Okay, and tell the lawyer. Why I always refer them to go for a lawyer? First thing, for us as a company secretary, if we do the what do you call that, the shareholder agreement, right? We are go according to the company act. This means not much different. You do agreement or no agreement, not much different. But if you go to a lawyer, you tell specifically how you're going to overcome the 5 things that I mentioned just now. Okay, then they will come up with a clause to protect every each of us in the organization, and then they will also minimize the risk of getting dispute in the future because they study law. They know what terms, what clause to write in the agreement. And then also another extra benefit, if your lawyer good enough, okay, if your lawyer good enough, if we have some agreements to sign or agreement legal documents with our vendors, we always can refer to them. Like my client, they've been treated by the shop owner. Okay, so if they have a lawyer, they should show to the lawyer and tell us the lawyer, hey, is this agreement okay or not? Right? So yeah, this is my sharing for this one. Thank you. Back to you, Isabel.
Thank
Vincent,
you.
can I just add one point?
Yeah, please.
Recently, for starting this year, there is
Mhm.
one thing that LHDN or Inland Revenue Board is focusing on, which is called transfer pricing. So this transfer pricing means that what are the transactions between a related party or related company? Like what Vincent mentioned just now, if you engage a vendor who is your wife or your relative, or your friend, there is a conflict involved. Now, what kind of pricing that your vendor gonna sell to you? Is it gonna same as market price, or is it gonna be lower than market price, or is it gonna be higher than market price? So currently, LHDN is looking into this very closely, starting this year, and it's been a main subject of talk or discussion among the accountants or tax practitioner on this. So if you want to have this kind of structure whereby you have engaging a relative or vendor or even your sister company that in which you have a shareholder inside, you are a shareholder inside, then it's very important that you engage a tax agent to inquire and ask for advice on this before LHDN steps into your office and inquire further. Because if you do breach, like Vincent said, there is a penalty again.
Yeah, on top of Junhao, additional part is nowadays we know that government very care to the people, okay, very care to the Malaysian. They come up a lot of grants and what do you call that, pre-hatin, you see, on which group you get how much, okay, every month, you see. So that's mean Malaysia is getting, I mean, the financials is getting lower. So average DN officer now is very hardworking. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, back to you, Isabel.
Well, Vincent, just now the story you share is like really interesting to know about, and I'm sure for audiences that's watching this video right now, you also have your story or your friend's story, something like that. So please feel free to also share with us, or maybe give us a thumbs up, or maybe share this video on your page or to the group. So I saw some people comment here. Manyi Tong say, good point. Relatives as vendor. Dominic say that, wow, so many things to think about with close relationships, doing business together. And then Chui say, thank you, Winson, for sharing clear points and advice.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay. So, okay. Um, The startup scene in Malaysia is alive and well despite the ongoing pandemic as Malaysians get more and more innovative. Most are seeking funding to kickstart their activities. So Chun Hao and Vincent, can you share best practices that would enable a company to get funding or grants?
Junhao, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's start with funding, right? If there are a few ways to get funding, first of all, you can always borrow from the bank, which whenever you borrow from the bank, you must have a healthy profit and loss and balance sheet, which means that you may be short of cash, but your business must be operating healthily in a way that, let's say, sales, you less your cost of your products or cost of your service rendered, it must be positive, meaning you must have a gross profit, right? Then only is showing that every sales that you make, you are making a profit instead of making loss. This is a basic profit and loss requirement. You know, if you sell a product of 1 ringgit, how much profit are you going to make? These are very basic things you must know. So some companies may be selling 1 ringgit but making a loss of 10 cents, and that is very bad already. So which company or which shareholder or which bank are willing to lend money to you if every single sales you're making a loss? Then on the overhead side, which is your expenses, you got to make sure that you're operating efficiently. You are not spending money unnecessary. For example, some directors may be spending a lot of money on entertainments, and yet there's a big loss on their P&L, which is not good, right? So if a banker sees this, then you will see, you may not be making operating your company efficiently for the sake of the company's profit, right? So first of all, your profit and loss must be healthy, right? Your cash may be low due to how you manage the cash. Now, bear in mind that cash and profit are two different things, yeah? So a lot of business owner who may not well versed in accounting, they always mix this up. When they see their cash flow is high, cash in the bank is high, they thought it's high profit. When their cash is low, they thought it's low profit. No, actually, it's not. I can have high cash and low profit, or low cash and high profit. How does it so? So, give you an example. If I were to sell cash on cash basis to, let's say, to all my clients, I collect cash upfront before I render my service. My cash flow will be very high, extreme high. But does it mean I'm having a high profit? No, it could be I'm having a 10% or even a 5% profit. I just collect cash. So what are the examples of business they are having high cash, low profit? Example are retail business, right? So my father used and my family used to run a business in a mini market, a small grocery shops, and they are having high sales, all cash basis, no utang one, right? Only probably about 5% client utang lah. But their margin is always very small because they sell by volume. And what they sell are groceries product, which are controllable items. They can't have high margin. They can only have small margin, but they sell a lot. They sell in a big volume. So same like some service industry like Winson or tax and all those, we maybe have high margin, but our cash can be very low because we don't take cash upfront. We take cash probably 1 month later or some 6 months later. And auditors may receive their payment probably 12 months later, right? These are some of the business whereby the nature of it, they may have higher margin but collect cash slower. So you got to bear in mind what's the difference between cash and profit. You got to make this clear. Then only you can manage your financial well. So your funding, in order to get fund, your P&L must look good, right? That's one thing. How to look good? Yeah, engage an accountant to help you to review first. Then before you submit to the bank. Of course, the banker will also tell you they have a certain ratio to calculate before they can disburse the fund to you. Another way is get to P2P or peer-to-peer and a few other methods as well. Then grants. There are a lot of grants available right now in Malaysia, right? Yesterday, I just spoke in a webinar in the Philippine Institute of Accountant, and I just found out that there's very little grants available in that country to adopt digitalization. Now, thank God we are in Malaysia. Currently, there are a lot of grants available to adopt digitalization. So some of the examples are from MDEC, and another one is from CDEC, which is Selangor government. Then SME Corp as well. They are paying 50% of the invoice value in order to adopt a solution. So the solution must be a more modern one. Of course, nowadays we are going for cloud, we are going for online, we are going for automation. So this is what the government and the whole entire world are focusing right now. And they are willing to finance 50% of the invoice value so long as you meet the criteria. Of course, what are the criteria? Most important criteria is you must be owned by a Malaysian. Usually it's about 51% or 60% owned by a Malaysian. Then they will look at the revenue size of your company for previous year, see whether you fall into the category of SME. Normally, SME will get all these grants. So some of the cloud solutions such as accounting, HR, and ERP are getting grants to adopt this. Now, to be frank, fellow Malaysians, now is the best time to adopt cloud solutions. Why? Because, like I say, there is a grant available, number one. And number two, your business will need all these solutions because if you are stuck at home like me, like my team now, then you need all these solutions in order to continue to operate. Well, we are not in essential service, so we can't go back to office. And a lot of business are not in essential, right? And company said only recently MIA, Malaysian Institute of Accountant, managed to get approval from MITI that they are allowed to operate, right, Vincent? Right? Yeah. So before that, how does Vincent gonna be operating? He can only stay at home and work whatever he can. If not, those that he cannot operate, then sorry, he has to say sorry to his client, right? So if you're online 100% as much as possible, you can still operate. And that's the beauty of having cloud. And like I say, grants helps a lot at this moment.
For those of you that's watching this video right now and you're listening to what Chun Ha is saying, please comment grant. If you would like to know more, find out more, please comment grant. Okay. Vincent.
Yeah, I totally agree with Chun Hao. Yes, for your information, I just get my MITI approval today. Okay, so yeah, and one more thing is during this lockdown, right? I totally because the whole team of mine we need to work from home, and then our costing increased. Why? Because we for the documentation we need to CTC or signed by the client, right? We need to go by those Mr. Speedy or Grab delivery. So our costing is increased. But yeah, because we didn't trust our client on this part, lah, honestly speaking. Okay, for those newly start up business, right? A good news for you. Uh, those company who registered during 1st of July 2020 until 31st of December 2021, okay, you are entitled a 20,000 tax rebates on the first 3 assessment years. What's that mean? That means if the company newly set up during this period, right? First assessment year, example, they need to pay maybe 30,000 tax. Okay, but with this penjana, okay, they only pay 10,000 tax for the first year. And then second year, maybe they need to pay 45,000 tax, and then deduct 20,000, they only pay 25,000. And so for the third year. But of course, the fourth year, tak ada lagi lah, no more. And then uh, the bad news is, this only applicable to Sdn Bhd or LLP. Okay, so those who, oh yeah, good news, but I want to set up the business in enterprise, so-called, or partnership. Sorry to tell you that. And now this is another discussion, a hot discussion amongst these tax agent and the accountants, or even the us company secretarial for this tax rebate, right? During the announcement of the government, okay, they announced that if, let's say, the example of me myself, okay, I already have one enterprise company, support company, I'm doing company secretary, okay, then I go to set up a Sdn Bhd during this period to entitle the 20,000 tax rebate. But it's not allowed. I'm not entitled because I run this business before, right? But during the terms announcement of the terms and condition, the government didn't put in this clause. So whether it's there still entitled or not entitled, this is a big discussion amongst our industry. Okay, so yeah, if my client they can get it, I will tell them this is a bonus to them. But they are newly started, they haven't do this business before. Yes, I sure they were entitled for this. And one more thing, from first MCO 1.0 until now, we already third generation of government already. So many things may be changed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
Yeah. Back to you, Isabel.
Thank you, Winson. Thank you for sharing about the tax rebate. So those of you who want to know more, you can find out on Google or maybe ask Winson more about this tax rebate. So I saw Dominic and Adrian commented grant. So for those of you still watching this video, please comment grant so that we know that you're interested to know more. Okay, about naming a company and incorporating in it on a selected date is deeply personal. Winson, do you notice any trends among new entrepreneurs who engage your company to set up their business?
So far for the naming, I don't see is so happening at my firm. Okay, but I can tell that we always, me and my team, we always help and advise on the name search or the name that they prefer. Okay, so like I give one example, like High Pines. Okay, if one of my client come to me and tell me that, hey Vincent, I want to open a business, okay, and I want to name it High Pines Trading Sdn Bhd, and I will straight away tell them, don't use the High Pine because it's been used in SSM system. Okay, so unless okay, this client of mine, they are related to Junhao, and Junhao come up with the consent letter for them to use the word High Pines. Now, for those public, bear in mind, okay, don't misunderstand. When the name been blocked in SSM, it doesn't means that the name you are blocking the what you call that, the branding as well. Okay, what I mean, I give you one example. McDonald's. I think each of us we know McDonald's, right? So who is the company who owing McDonald's Malaysia? Do you know that? Is it McDonald's Sdn Bhd or McDonald's Malaysia Sdn Bhd? No. The company behind McDonald's Malaysia is called Gerbang Alaf Restaurant Sdn Bhd. Okay, that means what? The company name and the branding name can be different. Okay, so that means if they lock their name, company name in the SSM, it doesn't mean that the branding they lock it. How they going to lock the branding? They must go for trademark their brand. Okay, do trademark. Okay, find the what do you call that, intellectual property lawyer, IP lawyer to help you to do the trademark. Why? Because like me myself, KaiZhiZi Sendram Berhad, I already have the lock the name in SSM, but I didn't lock my name in the what do you call that, the trademark. I didn't do the trademark. So what happened? One day maybe someone can use my company name. I don't know. So it's good that if you're concerning about your company and your branding, please do so. So this is my advice on the naming. Okay, but okay, now for the time, if they have a set date or time, I think this is very interesting topic because why? I think many of the parents, current trends, many of the parents they will ask after they consult their feng shui master, they will go back to their doctor and ask the doctor, hey doctor, can I have my baby deliver on this date and this time or not?
Mm.
Okay, now is the technology is very canggih already, man. They can do operation, right? So same thing happened to the company. Okay, so previously I have a few clients come and ask me, hey Winson, 8th of August is a good date for me. Okay, in Cantonese we call it Pat Pat. Okay, Fat Fat. So it's a good date for me. Can I have my company registered on this date or not? Yes, okay, can. Okay, so with the accuracy of 90%, we able to help our client to register to according to the date that they prefer. But how about time? Okay, of course, we also can help. The accuracy rate is 70%. But of course, don't tell me, Vincent, I want my company to register sharp by 1 p.m. Okay, sorry, I cannot do that. Totally, I cannot. But if you tell me that I want my company to register within 1 to 3 p.m., yes, we able to do that with the accuracy rate of 70%. So this is how we can help our client if they after they consult the feng shui master, okay, because they believe 八字 good 八字 will give a good fortune for their babies. Okay, and back to you, Isabel.
Hmm. Okay, interesting. For those of you that interested in looking like especially very feng shui kind of person, believe in this one, so can consult Vincent on this. Okay. Yeah. Next question is if there is a dispute among shareholders in the company and it escalates into a legal matter, like just now what we have mentioned, working with the friends or family. So, what would your advice be, Vincent?
Uh, okay, I use the words from, I mean, use the terms from those health and wellness people. Prevention is better than cure. So, what is the prevention here? Is the shareholder agreements. Okay, if built like Junhao mentioned, I totally agree. If by verbal agreement, right, maybe we will forget unless you record it, right? But if we go into the shareholder agreements and we get the authority stamping, okay, then it's legalized already, right? So we have a shareholder agreement because when happen the dispute, right, it's very difficult to solve at that moment because we don't set our expectation correctly upfront. And I have a tips to those audience here. If you have, like example, today we have a business in KL, then I plan to open up a business in Penang. So normally what we do, we will hire one branch manager there. Am I right? So for me, I would set up a new company there. Okay, maybe KaiZhiZi, Penang, Sendram Berhad, or something. I will do something different, and then I will host minimum of 75% of share, and I will give to the branch manager 25%. Why? Because if I just hire him or her as the branch manager, right, anytime they can betray me. They can set up another company next door, right? And when they get the sales, they pass to their own company. Okay, but with this, I believe they may stay together with us because they no need to come up with any capital. We do the capital for them. okay, but they still enjoying as an entrepreneur. So why many of you will ask this, why minimum 75% of share? Because if we own 75% and above, we have the decision or the right to decide whether we want to wind up this company if anything happen. Okay, and then this is one thing. And then most importantly, I want to emphasize this. What is the exit point for all of us? This must be mentioned clearly upfront. Okay, set our expectation. Maybe some of you will ask this, hey Vincent, we just want to start the business. Why we need to think about exit? Like I mentioned before, we don't know what happened tomorrow,
Mm.
right? And then it's when the company, when the business didn't earn money, is still okay when you want to say exit. But when company have a high profit, a lot of money there, I can tell you this going is a big what do you call it, argument among the member already. So we must set the expectation correct. That's me. We must mention what is our exit point. Okay, that's my sharing. Isabel, back to you.
Thank you. Always have a plan B. Am I right?
Always have a plan B. Yes.
Okay. Winston, can you advise foreigners who wish to set up a company in Malaysia? How should they prepare and if there are any restrictions they may face during this pandemic?
Okay, good question. For foreigners, base, I will make it to two major challenges and two subsidiary challenges. So, what is the two major challenges? First, they have a big challenge to open a business bank account in Malaysia, even though they already set up the company. Previously, someone referred me one what do you call that? One prospect. Okay, he already set up the business in Malaysia, and his origin country is from Iran. Is under bank list, right? They are sanctioned country. So after he set up the company since 2017, if I still remember. Okay, and then he go to try to open a business bank account. Almost every single bank, no bank will approve him, even though he have the MM2H title in Malaysia. So to me, every time when someone or other foreigner, they approach me and tell me that they want to set up the business in Malaysia, the first question I'm going to ask them, what is their origin country? Are they sanctioned country or are they high risk country? So I need to make sure they're able to open a business bank account after they set up the business. Or else it's just like a gun without a bullet, right? Junhao, let me ask you this question. If I KaiZhiZi bill you, okay, on certain amount, I pass you the invoice and I tell you, Junhao, please pay to Winson Woo personal account. Are you going to do that?
No way.
No way, right? It cannot be happen. That's why they must make sure they can able to open a business bank account in Malaysia. This is very important. Second thing, for the foreigner, the second major challenges is the directorship. So for those foreigner, they are not residents in Malaysia, which means they are not staying in Malaysia for more than 183 days in a calendar year. Okay, they need to appoint a local director or they can nominate a local director. Okay, it's good for them to come up with this nomination director agreement. Okay, what can do or what is the power of this director? Okay, and then for the two subsidiary challenges for those foreigner, the first one is if they wish to, some of the foreigner when they set up the business in Malaysia, they wish to hire their own team from their origin country. Okay, so this will become their expatriate. We call it expatriate in Malaysia. So they need to understand that if they hire this expatriate, the pay up capital for this company must be very high. What I mean is, as my knowledge, the minimum will be 400,000 ringgit Malaysia. And then it's subject to industry. Not every industry is the same. Yeah? Some of them, they may hire. I heard that there's one industry, I can't remember, is 1 million. And then not every industry can apply for this to hire expatriates. Okay. And then the second subsidiary is for the special business license or business status. Like, give two examples. One is MSC, Multimedia Super Corridor. So if they want to apply for this MSC status, they must have at least 60% Malaysian equity ownership. That means what? That means in their share structure, 60% must be owned by Malaysian. Okay, and then second example is the manufacturing license. They need to apply by the MIDA, from the MIDA. And then the payout capital, minimum 2.5 million. Okay, minimum 2.5 million or above. And then the manpower must equal or more than 75 people. Okay, so they need to understand this also. And then for the manufacturing license, what I mentioned just now, also applicable to those Malaysian. They want to have the manufacturing status for their business. Okay, so this is the two major challenges for the foreigner and the two subsidiary challenges for the foreigner. And back to you, Isabel.
Thank you, Winson. You have shared so much valuable information. I hope the audiences is getting something today. Finally, how can the viewers contact you to get more information about your services, Winson?
Yes, you can log into our website. Yeah, thank you, Isabel, you sharing this. So our website is kaizhizi.com.my and the email is there, Winson@KaiZhiZi, and my contact number is there. So you can call me or email to me anytime. So yes, we are happy to connect with you.
Okay.
And Junhao?
Chunhao?
Yeah, we also have a website, is www.highpinestc.com, and the email is cheah@highpinestc.com. So you can drop me an email or visit our website to find out about how to digitalize your back office operations to make it more from offline to online and also automation.
Thank you, Winston and Chunhao. So before we go to the next thing, I just want to say please stay until the end because I'm going to bring up an offer. It's a digital transformation assessment. So I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to put it in the comment section. It's a link. Before I go into that, Chunhao, can you share with me like how High Pines help SMEs to digitalize their operation during this period of time? Is there any story you can share?
Sure. Maybe I share for three clients of mine. Each of them has adopted different solutions. First of all is our Oracle NetSuite Cloud ERP solutions. So this NetSuite ERP solution is able to allow you to access anywhere, anytime, using online by going into internet. And one of our client is a chain of fried chicken, which is originate from Korea, and they have a branch of by now about 30 outlets. So before that, they were using a small cloud system as well, cloud accounting system. And when they grew to a size of 20 outlets, the CEO looked for me and said, "Hey Chun, how my business has grown quite big now, but my small accounting software can't support my business. So what do you recommend?" And we recommended to this CEO that it's time for you to move to cloud ERP, whereby you can see your financials immediately on real-time basis with all the nice looking pie chart, bar graph, and also even the ratio analysis that usually accountants do. They are all on real-time basis and provided to you on the screen of your laptop, right? So the CEO loved this method and he moved on to about last year started he adopted the inventory module so that he can manage all his materials to reduce the stock loss as well as the costing. So sometimes they want to make sure that all his chicken or the sauces are being provided to each of the outlets so that they are being replenished on time. This will avoid the loss of sales, right? Because if you don't have enough sauce or don't have enough chicken, then you can't sell. You got nothing to sell. So this is very important when you have a real-time inventory management, as compared to if you adopt a very traditional system where it's not real time, it has to be managed by one person only, then you will always rely on that one person alone. But if it is the access is given to all the outlets and the warehouse, the minute they key in, then the persons from the outlet or the warehouse can see what is the stock available in the warehouse or in the outlet as well, so that they can manage all this inventory on real time basis in order to prevent the stock loss. Another example is a company who adopted our cloud HR system. Is a company from Korea as well. They sell health machines to the hospitals. So what happened is they have been doing their payroll by outsourcing to outsourced person using manual, right? UBS accounting software to be exact. And during the lockdown of MCO 1.0, they struggle. They can't go back to office, right? If you still remember MCO 1.0, all of us are at home. There's no, a lot of companies cannot go back to work. So this company or this client of mine, the director said that, my payroll is stuck. I have money to pay, but I can't process. So what can you recommend to help us? He was asking me. I said, why don't you migrate all your data on your payroll to cloud so that you can continue to process this payroll while you are at home, right? So the director is at home and she's in charge to manage the payroll, and she managed to process the payroll within 1 week after we implemented. We only take 1 week to implement during the MCO period because it's very urgent. Then the director managed to continue to process the payroll, and she's very happy and even give us a very good testimonial. Apart from that, there's a very well-known bond rating company in Malaysia, located in KL Eco City. They also just adopted this same HR solution in order to manage their HR function like claim efficiently online. So same thing, a lot of them are working from home and they don't want to go back to office and manage anymore. They don't want to manage using Excel anymore, and a lot of controls not there. So they want a system to have the control, like for example, limit the claim of traveling, limit the claim of spectacles or dental, that kind of things. Instead of relying a human to look at it and monitor, you're relying on a system to monitor. So the minute you claim more than what is the approved threshold, the system will automatically prompt you so that all your funds are there. It's not being abused, right? Lastly, is the cloud accounting solution, which by name of QuickBooks Online, and this is very popular accounting software all over the world, whereby there are 5 million, about 5.5 now, 5.5 million users or companies using this software. In Malaysia alone, it's about 5,000. And one of the users are currently with us today. He is Winson Woo, who just adopted QuickBooks Online, like I think less than 1 year. So maybe I will leave it to Vincent to share what is his experience of using this software.
Yeah, thank you, Tun Hao. I think it's a very nice software because now put aside as the my profession, as the entrepreneurs, okay, uh, we need to understand our cash flow, and we sometimes I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs when I ask them that they always complain to me this, Vincent, you know what? My team always pass me the management report by end of the day, especially Friday. You know why? Because when they pass the management report, those P&L balance sheet, everything, right? The whole set management report to their boss, okay, to their boss by 5 o'clock. That's mean the boss need to immediately go through the management report. But entrepreneurs, we have a lot of things we need to settle in our office, right? We have no time. By the time we have the time to go through the management report, sorry, our account staff bye-bye already. They go back already. So they hope that on the next Monday, right, when we come back to work, we forget about it. Okay, so this is one of the pain. And then second thing, what is the pain, right? Sometimes we as the entrepreneurs, we see some weird figure in our accounting. Okay, like suddenly, hey, normally our DNB bill is about, let's say, 800 ringgit, but suddenly this month go to 2,000 ringgit. What happened? So I want to see the original bill, how to do it. Okay, normally we will go ask our account staff, go to take out the file, the arch file, okay, and open up, finding, then maybe it takes you about 5 to 10 minutes, I don't know, depends on the efficiency of that stuff. But with QuickBooks, immediately we can see it. The original billing of the documents is attached in the account itself. So the best part is, what I want to say is, QuickBooks is very convenient in terms of like, when we as an entrepreneurs, okay, maybe in the midnight, okay, we cannot sleep, then we want to go through our this what is the profit, okay, how many I have earned this month, so I can straight away log in anytime, anywhere, right? Second thing, if I come across any weird transaction, I need to see the original document. I no need to call my staff. Straight away from there, I can see it by myself, right? So this is the two major benefit, and most importantly, we can access anytime, anywhere. It's not like those server-based accounting software. Okay, means what? We must die go back and to office to do the accounting work. Now, even though lockdown, my team been working for work from home about 3 months already. Okay, they issue invoice everything, they access to the QuickBooks, then they straight away issue the invoice to my client. Very fast. And even we can send WhatsApp to my clients, email or WhatsApp.
Yep.
Very convenient.
Yep.
No need to print out and scan and send to them. No need. Save a lot of time. Yeah, back to you.
Yep. And you can do that by just one click or button using your smartphone, because there's an app for it. So I always do that in my company, High Pines. And whenever my client asks for quotation, all I do is just copy from the previous quotation, change the name, and then send out the quotation. So once they accepted, okay, I just click one button, turn into invoice, and email again. But if they prefer WhatsApp, there is another button that I can send to WhatsApp, right? So some clients prefer WhatsApp. And once they pay, again, the system is able to automatically match. So give an example, if I bill Vincent 1,000 ringgit and he pay from his company KaiZhiZi Sdn Bhd, because in my invoice also written KaiZhiZi Sdn Bhd 1,000 ringgit, the system is able to auto match for it. All I have to do is just click confirm and it's all done. So my work as an accountant has been reduced tremendously. And what I can do, I can focus more on what I do best, which is digital transformation for my client. And for Winson, he can be an advisor for your business as well in terms of company secretary matters. So we can focus what we do and reduce the admin matters.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing the story with us, Chun Hao. And thank you, Winston, as well, for all the valuable information that you have shared just now. I hope the audiences caught it. And even if you are not watching this live video now, you can always rewatch this video later on. So thank you so much, Winston and Chun Hao. We will end here, but I will leave this image here, this 30 minutes free digital transformation assessment. I will leave this page here so that our audiences can have a look with this. And we have pasted the link in our comment section. So for you to enjoy this free digital transformation assessment, you just click on the link and drop in the details in there, and we will have people get in touch with you. Thank you so much, Winson and Chun Hao.
Thank you,
Thank
Isabel.
you. Thank you,
see you next time.
Isabel. Thanks for having me here.
Have a nice
Thank you,
day.
Vincent.
Goodbye. Stay safe,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. Stay safe, everyone.